Pew, pew, pew. This is the way.
This is the way. Space westerns with like pew pew lasers.
It's a western.
It's so insane. It's insanely good.
Grief Karga told me you were coming.
And you're dead.
Why is this guy all about missing appendages? You know, it's weird.
I don't want a shitty thing that now is another shitty thing.
I'm whelmed. I'm pleasantly whelmed.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I have spoken.
I know that's the nerdiest thing I've said all week.
You know, somber cargo pants. It's great.
The entire thing is lava.
So...
Load.
I have spoken.
Broadcasting live from inside the power band. This is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, Kevin, along with the incomparable Ben.
Hey.
And Chad.
What's up?
Welcome to the podcast, folks. We hope everybody's doing well on this cold, wintry morning.
Summer.
Depending on where you are in the world. Yes, cold, wintry summer morning. This week on the podcast, we're going to be talking about the exciting new series on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian.
Go Favs.
Where do we want to fly to first? We want to talk about how great Jon Favreau is?
Yeah, let's high level it. I love Favs.
Whoop.
He's great.
And I want him to make me a Cuban sandwich.
Oh, man.
Me too. I've been a fan of Fav since Rudy.
Totally.
I was really surprised when I heard that he was directing Iron Man. And now he has absolutely moved into like a whole nother level and echelon of his career. And he's directing and writing and producing. And I'm really glad he's there because he's
killing it.
He's killing it, but I also feel like he's sort of safeguarding things and making sure that they're like done properly.
Yeah, totally.
And I really like that.
And similarly, I was surprised when I heard that he was doing some Star Wars stuff. And I had forgotten completely until the credits rolled on the first episode. And I was like, oh, yeah. And was pretty stoked about it.
I didn't know at all. And I was very excited when I saw that in the credits.
No, I that's odd that you guys didn't know that he was involved in The Mandalorian, because that was like kind of one of the things that made me go, all right, I'll give it a chance, you know. Say it's a pretty popular opinion here on this podcast that we haven't been too thrilled with a lot of the Star Wars stuff that's come along the pike in the past few years. So when I found out that Jon Favreau was writing this stuff and directing some of it and was sort of overseeing the entire thing, I was like, okay, let's see what that's all about.
Give it a shot.
I'll give it a look. I'll give it a listen.
We'll try it. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, the Star Wars thing, man, is just turned into a bit of an abusive relationship, you know? I'm just like, he loves me, and I keep going back.
Yeah, I've come to realize how codependent I am.
Yeah. High-level Mandalorian, what were your first impressions?
Well, I did mention my codependent relationship with the Star Wars universe earlier. So I'm always like, whenever I see something, my initial reaction is like, maybe I think I kind of like that, you know? And then it's with further evaluation that I'm like, maybe I didn't like that so much. So I've been a little cautious, hopping into the bathtub here, you know, dipping a toe, trying to make sure the temperature is just right. And I think I like it. I think it's good. It's not that I think it's extremely remarkable or exciting or anything along those lines, but I think there's some good storytelling going on, and there's something just pleasant about watching it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm enjoying it, but I wouldn't say it's like a Watchmen or The Boys or even an Umbrella Academy for that matter in terms of like being different. But I'm enjoying it. My first impression was, yeah, okay. And then as it kind of rolled along, I was like, yeah, right on. Kind of a Western. Yep, cool. And I think it was the second episode maybe where he goes and takes or maybe it was the first episode, where he goes and takes the spoils of his first bounty to the blacksmith, and it kind of has a bit of a flashback kind of lore stuff. That's when it really lit up for me. And I was really pumped to like get even just like a single drop of new Star Wars lore that wasn't rehashing old material. That I was kind of pumped again.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah.
I was skeptical. My relationship with the Star Wars universe currently in my head is that the whole thing ended with Rogue One. Mm-hmm. That was the last really good Star Wars movie that came out. It was better than Force Awakens. It was absolutely better than The Last Jedi. I don't know. I don't think I was immediately negative when you guys said that this was a thing and, you know, whatever, that we should watch it. I was curious, but I was definitely like, I hope this is good, because I have not been wowed by the stuff that has come out lately. When I started watching it, I thought the opening was great, grabbed me right away. And I was therefore curious. And then I started getting excited to watch the subsequent episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe like another high-level thought that might help shift gears a little bit was that, like, The Mandalorian is my kind of Western. Like, I've never been super into Westerns, and so, like, space Westerns with, like, pew-pew lasers, I'm fucking all about that shit, bro.
Dude, pew-pews? Are you kidding me?
Pew, pew, pew.
Because you're more into the Western thing than I am, if I recall correctly. Or maybe Ben, you mentioned in Tombstone you weren't frothing about Westerns, but
No, I'm not.
I don't know. I think I'm the least Westerny of us.
I froth about Westerns. I love Westerns.
I think for the Star Wars universe, taking it from the putting a Western take on it isn't really that hard. It's kind of on the nose, It's almost like it's all in the soundtrack, It's all in the score, and that's what really makes it seem Westerny. I don't know, man. I think it's, sometimes what's obvious just needs to be a thing, like instead of trying to repackage it and try to make it something that it's not, like just fucking go with it. It's a Western. And I like it. Yeah, it's good.
And it at the moment, at least, in season 1 of Infinity Seasons, it's not saving the fucking universe. It's just like reasonably tight sphere of story, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried about Baby Yoda and how that's going to affect things, but hopefully it doesn't, Hopefully it's like you said, it's not like save the universe shit. It's just like it's like one cool thing about it is it seems like it's just everyday life in the Star Wars universe,
If you're going to have thousands of planets or hundreds of planets all woven together, a lot of them are going to be frontier planets, and so it makes a lot of sense to have a frontier setting for the show.
I'm not disputing or criticizing the setting. I think the Western setting is fine.
Yeah, same.
Same. And they could even blend it with some other elements. I like it the way it is.
But you like it enough the way it is, which I think is the point where, like, generally speaking, I think the Star Wars fan community, despite, like leaving aside all of the emotion and craziness that can happen at times where people are really passionate, like, I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that the community's been concerned with the way things have been going, and it's been a bit up and down. So having a tight story that takes its cues from a Western genre and isn't saving the universe and is good enough is good enough. Like, good enough is what we're looking for right now. What we're looking for is, I don't want a shitty thing that now is another shitty thing, And it's definitely not shitty. It's definitely entertaining, and the sprinklings of lore are like, an oasis in the desert for me, at least.
There you have it, folks. He doesn't want another shitty thing that's another shitty thing.
The funny thing is, as vague as that statement was, I totally got it, Chad.
I did too, man. I did too.
Well, also, I like that they're treading cautiously with the, you mentioned lore before, Chad, but it seems like they're going easy with things here. Like anything new that we're being introduced to, it's not heavy-handed at all. It's like, it's pretty chill, and we're getting little things at a time. It's almost like they're like testing the waters to see how people are going to react to what their take on things is,
which is kind of annoying, actually.
Maybe, but also it's not some heavy-handed, shitty fucking thing that they've been throwing at us for the past 5 or 6 years, or however long it's been since they've been doing this again. So I appreciate that. I'm willing to be patient with it, and I'm kind of glad that they're taking their time with things.
Sure. I'm with you that, it's not really bothering me at the moment. If they're cautious for the next 6 fucking years, I'll start complaining about it. But similar to Last Jedi, like, when Force Awakens came out, as we spoke about in the other show, like, I was like, okay, reboot, show the same thing again, just to get everyone warmed back up, and then the next movie will be, like, a brand new thing, and then the next movie was remaking Empire. And so, like, I guess the Oasis thing for me is, like, I just want to see some new shit, I want to hear some new stuff, and like, literally that moment in episode 2, I believe, where the blacksmith is like talking about foundlings and kind of like a Bushido kind of samurai kind of thing. And it was just like something fucking new for a change. It wasn't retreading old ground. It caught me off guard how much it like breathed new life into my passion for Star Wars, even though it was like a 2-second thing or like a 1 scene thing.
Right. I don't think that this is reigniting my passion for Star Wars. I think I'm pretty stoked about this show. I'm still really not hopeful for the future. I'm actually glad that you said that. I'm not hopeful for the future, but I am currently hopeful for this show. So I'm going to kind of circle back to where you were like a minute or two ago, Chad, is that I think boldness is what's needed.
Fair.
You can play it safe all you want, but being bold is really what gets you to cool places. And I don't really get why Solo didn't do that well. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was fine.
I think
it's better than Last Jedi.
It wasn't Rogue One, I can tell you that, but it was definitely better than Last Jedi. And they need to be bold. It's like they're so worried about offending somebody, and it's like, you're going to offend somebody, so just forget it and make something cool. Like, stop worrying about it. It's like, well, what about the hardcore fans? Well, okay, what about them? Like, well, what about the kids? Okay, what about them? It's like, you're never going to make everybody happy, man. It's like, I think picking a bold direction, especially with a property like this, is the magic bullet, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I agree with you, but a bold decision in the wrong direction is tantamount to failure.
True.
So, and I think that's what they've done this far. I think they have made some bold moves, but they haven't done it right,
Putting a movie out every year was a bold move.
Yeah, putting a movie out every year, and just the direction they've gone is just not one that seems to resonate with anyone. It doesn't resonate with the hardcore old school fans. It doesn't seem to resonate much with kids. Like, it's tripe. Everybody knows it's tripe. And, it's fucking bold, but it's not interesting, and it's not resonating with people. So I think fans' reaction matters. With this show, they're being a little cautious. I think it's a good decision on their part because it allows them to get a little bit of feedback from people out there that are watching this shit. And if they're getting encouraging news, then they can move a little further, and it's a back and forth. And I think maybe that's a good way to go here because they haven't managed to get it right. Not on any front except for Rogue One.
Yeah, I think an interesting example that I saw on Twitter was that they were super surprised with the reception to Baby Yoda and didn't have merchandising really set up for it and kind of were blown away with everyone freaking out about Baby Yoda. So, I don't want to derail this, but as an Apple fan, the fact that Apple seems to be starting to listen to the public and the gripes that people have had about the keyboards and stuff, at least they're starting to fucking listen. And so I feel similarly about a Disney, hopefully they're starting to listen,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, the story that they're putting forth here with The Mandalorian is a sign that they're perhaps listening.
Perhaps, and, yeah. Proof is in the pudding, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've yet to be, I'm whelmed. I'm pleasantly whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm whelmed. And, there's room to go. There's room to go in either direction, but I am hopeful.
I'm really enjoying seeing something for the first time. I think so much of the original trilogy for me was rewatching because this was the era of it was the only goddamn sci-fi there was, that I was obsessed with. And it's nice to see something new. And so watching an episode for the first time and having to be here's something I've never seen and I have no idea what's going to happen. And hopefully it's fucking fun, and I've definitely been whelmed as well. And it's been fun, even if it's not, The Boys or Watchmen in terms of grittiness, for example.
Right. But there's some grit to it. It's got some grit.
Sure. Just to touch on the cast, I'm super thankful that Benny brought Prospect to the table, a few months back because it was a great intro to Pedro Pascal, and we touched on The Mandalorian when we talked about Prospect, but
we did?
Knowing who's behind the helmet. Yeah, we just said it in super in passing, oh, he's in the new Mandalorian show. And it was oh, cool. It was a one sentence thing, but
yeah, because I must have tuned out because when we talked about Pedro Pascal the other day on the phone, I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you were mentioning Oberyn from Game of Thrones or whatever. So I'm stoked that I was able to have some context for Pedro Pascal. It definitely added a bit of gravity to the character for me, and I appreciated the Prospect kind of history there.
Yeah, it's interesting. They in little promo clips and such, they never mentioned that Pedro Pascal was in Prospect. They always talk about Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, it would be great if they did because it would promote a really great film that deserves promotion. prospect was amazing.
I think so.
But like, of course, they're not going to talk about it. It's not popular enough. Like they're trying to connect the dots for him. You know what I mean? Like for people, for him, to him. I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So talking about GOT is. Sorry, I never should have just said that. That was so dumb. I hate that. I hate that so much.
And you're dead.
I died by saying GOT. So to finish my thought, connect people from this to Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is insanely popular, insanely massive, insanely good.
Wow.
Insanely tasty.
I don't know about insanely good, but it was insanely good.
It was.
Oh, it's insane, dude. It's so insane. It's insanely good.
Are you dead again?
Did you read? Did you read that in a review or something? Was somebody just enamored with using insanely good to describe? I almost did it, Game of Thrones. I almost said GOT. We need to talk about Carl Weathers as Grief Karga, but every time I say the name Grief Karga, I can't help but think about
cargo pants.
Do it. Just do it and get it out of your system. Let's just start doing it. Grief Cargo Pants or Werner?
That's good. I mean, it is a really funny name, but yeah, I think about Werner Herzog saying, "Grief Karga told me you were coming," which leads me to Werner Herzog.
I fucking love Werner Herzog.
I am the secret love child of Christopher Lambert and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's so true.
It is. That was a really good call on that, Ben, by the way. By the by.
I'm down with Herzog next, man. I am so in love with that dude as a director. I love his documentaries, especially. Like, fuck me, that guy's made some great stuff.
We can fuck you, and we will fuck you. We can arrange to have you fucked.
The fuck was that from?
I just made it up.
That was like the Werner Herzog. I can get you a toe, dude.
You know, it wouldn't if I knew Werner Herzog, he would be the first person I would call if I needed a toe.
It's fair. Even one with green nail polish.
I bet you no problem. I'll get you your toe.
Wait, this toe thing is flying over my head. Is that a reference to something that I clearly haven't seen? Or
yeah, it's Lebowski.
It's a Lebowski reference, yes.
Oh, but. Right, of course. But the funny thing about that is that he plays in the first Jack Reacher movie. He plays the villain, and he plays a Russian guy who only has like 2 fingers between the 2 of his hands. And it's because he chewed them all off to like escape from prison or something like that. And he's really diabolical in that movie. And that, I don't know, that toe thing reminded me of that. Or like all of a sudden I'm like, why is this guy all about missing appendages? You know, it's weird. So I honestly, admittedly, don't know a lot about this guy. I mean, his name is legendary. I've heard of him, of course. I've seen him in Jack Reacher. I didn't see the toe thing, whatever.
I think he's more well known as a director.
That's what I thought. I thought he was a director. Exactly.
He is. Yeah. You know, he's made a bunch of movies with Klaus Kinski, and he's terrific. He's a legend.
He is a legend.
He teaches forgery and lockpicking at his film school because he believes those are important for filmmaking.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, just, get yourself into whatever location you need to film. Fuck it. Break the law.
Wow.
He's a very interesting guy.
Super interesting.
If you have the chance to listen to any podcast where he's the guest, I highly recommend it. He's a very fascinating person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will definitely do that. Sounds really good.
I guess.
Now, Chad, let me ask you a quick question about Werner Herzog. Sorry, Ben. This is just a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Does he narrate the documentaries as well as film them?
He does. Most of the time.
Ben, I told you to hold a thought a second ago. Go ahead and finish what you were going to say before.
Just while we're talking about him, I thought it was worth mentioning. There's just like a lot of really fucking hysterical press out there about Werner Herzog and Baby Yoda.
Oh, really?
And his reaction to Baby Yoda. Like there's like just like all these clickbaity like articles that would pop up. Like, Werner Herzog cried when he saw Baby Yoda or whatever, People that are fans of Werner Herzog will know that he's a fan of practical effects, and he absolutely abhors CGI. So, when he saw this like incredible puppet that they made for Baby Yoda, he was just like he was moved. Like he described it as heartbreaking. And so he loved the Baby Yoda puppet. And apparently at some point during filming, they like took the puppet out and they put in like a green thing, not, Baby Yoda is of course green, but they put in something so that they could green screen and do like CGI if the practical effects didn't work out or whatever. And he apparently just like attacked like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and called them cowards and like just had this serious reaction to the whole thing, which I've just it's so him, and it's so funny.
That's a great send-off for Herzog. I reckon we should shift gears to Nick Nolte next, maybe, and then on to Dillion.
Well, hold on. Whoa. We segued straight away from Carl Weathers here, so we need to give Carl Weathers his due.
I think we should finish on Carl Weathers. I think he's
okay.
I think it's like cherry on top.
Agree.
All right.
Agree.
I have spoken, Ben. God damn it.
Damn you.
I have spoken.
I wanted to do that one.
Stole your fucking thunder, bro.
I have spoken.
How great is Nick Nolte's voice on that character, hey?
So good. Jesus.
It's so Nick Nolte. I had no idea that the species that Nick Nolte plays, the sort of like pig-nosed, short little creatures in Star Wars. They're in like Empire Strikes Back. They're the ones that are like running the carbonite freezing machine, and the ones that like.
Oh, is that the same species? I know that's the nerdiest thing I've said all week, but
it is the same species. Yeah, they're Ugnaughts. So I didn't know that Nick Nolte needed to play an Ugnaught, but damn if he didn't. Like,
he fucking knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, he's terrific, and I love that they even made the character kind of look like him. Yeah,
totally. Kind of cues from animated films where the talking animals or whatever kind of takes on the character of the actor a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely he was in there for sure, and just I love that character. I think he's great. Queel.
Yeah, he's practical, I believe. Yeah, he looks like he's a practical effect.
I believe so. Yeah, I think they more or less went with as much practical effect as they could in this,
which is awesome
in this series. Excuse me. Yeah, which I'm in the Werner Herzog camp there. I think the practical effects make a difference if you use them as much as possible.
Yeah, just look at any of the Star Wars movies that Lucas changed.
Yeah.
If you need evidence of that.
There you go.
I agree, and I think that the practical effects, they really make you work harder. In films that are great with practical effects, like they really, really had to work for it to make it good. And in
like an Alien, for example.
Well, I was going to say Empire,
sure,
and Blade Runner, but yeah, Aliens, like any of those movies, man, like practical effects are amazing.
Yeah, I think with the practical effects, the actors you have something to react to. If you're standing in front of a matte painting and you're talking to a puppet, then you're in the environment and you're there. Whereas like if you're standing in front of a green screen and you're in costume and you're talking to a fucking tennis ball, that has to affect things, And I think it shows.
Agreed.
And I think it also when it's real, that there's still something, as great as CGI is and as much as I love it where it's used wisely, there's something to it that your brain just registers that's not real. You know it.
I mean, even when we were talking about that, when we were doing shorts and we were talking about Beyond the Aquila Rift and we were talking about the Uncanny Valley, I mean, like, it's still like, yes, it looked real, but it still didn't look real, and it made me feel funny. Let me ask you a question. Did they use another actor in the makeup, or did they shrink him down a la Lord of the Rings?
I don't know. My guess would be a different actor personally, but I don't know.
No, I'm looking at. I have IMDb open, everybody, just so you know. And I did see that there was an actor in a suit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Misty Rosas is the Queel performance artist. So there you go.
Is the what performance artist?
Queel is the name of the character.
Got it. Right. Sorry.
Which makes sense, I guess, because like it's going to have a different budget being a show, and so doing forced perspective stuff a la Lord of the Rings probably would have been way too expensive. So maybe doing like motion capture on Nick Nolte's face and using that to inform the robotics, and then having a dude in a suit makes a lot of sense from a cost perspective.
Yeah, there's a woman, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I just figured I would specify. I don't know that I recognize her name or that I've seen her in anything, but she was terrific.
I always generalize that every single person in every single CG character is Andy Serkis, so that's kind of where my biases come in.
Sure, I mean, and you'd be right to assume that.
You'd be right most of the time.
Statistically, the odds are in your favor.
I really enjoy the mannerisms of Nick Nolte's character in terms of the I have spoken and kind of like the gruff frontiersman kind of thing. I love their kind of their exchanges.
Absolutely.
It's post-Empire, right? So like, I mean, and the only I'm kind of like, I'm making some assumptions here, but the only time we've seen Ugnaughts otherwise, they always seem to be like working the scrap yards in some Imperial, like they're going through all the junk and pulling out what's useful and getting rid of what's not. And they seem like they've been employed or perhaps enslaved by the Empire. So your sense for this character Queel is that he's managed to post-Empire get away from that and make a life for himself out in this, frontier. He's happy to be there, even though life is difficult. He's making a life for himself finally,
Yeah, it makes sense. And they tend to paint the species with a very broad brush in the Star Wars universe. So like all Mandalorians are this one thing and all, different species are this other thing. And
right. Yeah, sure.
They don't seem to.
All the planets are either ice planets or desert planets or forest planets.
It's like a fucking Super Mario level, The entire thing is lava. But like it's almost a nostalgic factor of Star Wars, where you've come to expect that all of the piggy creature dudes are slaves that pick through scraps, and all the Jawas are kind of thieving gypsies and stuff.
Yeah, great use of stereotypes.
Yeah, it's enjoyable to stereotype when they're fictional.
So let's circle back to Carl Weathers.
Action, Jackson. I'll open with Carl Weathers looks fantastic.
Aw.
He does. And I'm very happy to see him in this production. I love seeing actors that I haven't seen on screen in a while. Really, since Happy Gilmore is the last big thing I remember him doing. And
Chubbs,
totally, man. And that is, in my opinion, as a very small sidebar, the only Adam Sandler movie. But he was so great in that, and I think he's just great in this. I was so excited to see him. He's perfect. I love that he's there. I don't really have anything else to say. He's great, and his name is great. It's about it's about, somber cargo pants. It's great. Thank you, Ben.
I mean, I'm just waiting for there to actually be a Star Wars character named Jarhigo. I'm just waiting. I think the odds are in my favor that it's going to happen, or it may have already happened in like a book, like the expanded canon or something that I have no idea about. But seeing a name like Grief Karga just makes me think that it's inevitable.
There's hope. Yeah, there's hope in the future. So Carl Weathers is where we were. As a quick refresher.
I didn't recognize him, and I was really stoked when I looked him up and saw all of the things he was in, and one thing we haven't touched on is him as Dillion in Predator. So pretty legit. Dillion.
Well, you'd been going on about Dillion, so I left that one out. But I did mention Apollo Creed. So
yeah, man, he's legit. It's nice to see him get a good role, and he's not dead as of episode 3 or whatever when he got shot with the steel.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's right, dude. He had the best car cigar container in his fucking breast pocket that saved him from the shot.
There you go.
Yeah.
If that's not a trope, I don't know what is.
Oh my God, that was so good.
The setup was great too in the cantina where he's just like, I got a little too.
He's like, I'm rich too.
Yeah, right. And he pulls him out a little bit.
Yeah.
As if that's going to impress.
I'm rich too. Take some time. Enjoy life a little bit. Come on. I want my next job.
That's wow. That was perfect, man.
Sorry.
You know what that was, Kev?
Which impression?
That was a death.
Wow, that was a death. Somebody write that down. Sorry. So anyway, Carl Weathers' body of work is huge. Of course, Dylan, Predator. You son of a bitch. Great stuff. Apollo Creed. Chubbs Peterson. He's just great. I love Carl Weathers. So I was really happy to see him in this, and I love his performance, and I love his character, and like Chad said, I'm glad that he's not dead by episode 2.
Yeah, I'm glad they did the Beskar cigarette case trope breast pocket thing.
I liked it.
Anybody else that we want to talk about? I just wanted to mention that Horatio Sands played that the first bounty in the very beginning of the first episode. That was a nice little touch.
Oh, yeah, right on.
Oh.
And then, of course, like, I can't believe Chad has not brought this up.
I guarantee you that's what I just said for.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yes, says the robot.
Dude, totally screwed his name up.
Hey, really quick, though, I wanted to say that that droid was one of my favorite little details of this series. I always loved the IG-88 action figure when I was a kid, and I always wondered, like...
Same here.
I always wondered, like, how it was that he was a badass bounty hunter, you know? Or I'm calling it he.
Yeah, I never understood that either.
But it was cool to see it in action, you know, to see that it was like sort of like it was all based around the central axis and that it could just spin its arms around in its head, and like everything was like moving in a different direction, like it was walking backwards and forwards, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and he clearly had like multiple eyes / cameras / targeting systems, because they were spinning on the top of his head as well. So like one was looking to the right and then the other was looking to the, you know, like behind him. Like it was so cool. That whole sequence was great.
And it was funny as shit, too, where it was just like, initiating self-destruct. It's like, what the fuck, man? You know, like, there's just some really good bits there.
Like, stop already.
Yeah. I heard another podcast talking about how happy they were that the bounty droid got knocked off. Just so, like, for a minute, you're like, oh, maybe this is a buddy show. And then it's like, nope, not a buddy show. And, you know, same with Nick Nolte. You're like, oh, maybe he's going to join the crew. It's like, nope, he's still a loner. And I just really appreciated that they stuck with the loner thing.
Yeah, I got the impression that it was going to be like a Cowboy Bebop kind of thing, like set in the Star Wars universe when I first saw, like, you know, trailers, etc. And I mean, that could have been cool too, I guess, if they had done it the right way. But I think otherwise it would be like too close to something like Firefly, you know, like the you know, space western thing with like a cast of buddy characters, you know. Yeah, I suppose it's probably wise that they went the way they went.
It just keeps it clean, you know. Like, But yeah, I'm with you on the battle droid, man. The battle or bounty droid or whatever. The movements of that thing was amazing. Like that was a great sequence.
Really, really awesome, man. Loved it. So we've covered the cast. We've covered some of the periphery players. Finally covered Taika Waititi. Let's talk music.
I love the soundtrack in this.
Same.
I really do. I've sort of read a lot of gruff about it. People don't seem to resonate with something other than like a John Williams composition when it comes to Star Wars, but I think it's awesome.
Fuck them.
Yeah, completely, completely fuck you if that's your opinion.
Stop the podcast. Fucking delete it. Fuck you.
Oh my god. But I think it's great. It's really good. I mean, you know, you're getting some of the Western vibes in there, but it's so much more expansive than that. And I love that this composer, I don't even actually hate to admit this, but I have no idea
Ludwig
who's scoring this.
Göransson.
Who is it?
Ludwig Göransson.
Ludwig Göransson. Well, I love your soundtrack, man. It's really good.
It is great. A little aside, a little pedigree. He's a Swedish dude that has worked with a lot of hip-hop artists. He produced all of the Childish Gambino albums for Donald Glover.
For Donald Glover, okay.
Also known as Lando Calrissian in Solo.
It's Baron Lando Calrissian, by the way.
Oh.
You didn't know that. Apparently. But that's for another time. So yeah, I loved that he wasn't afraid to use like some kind of some atonal stuff. There's like some parts where like, you know, there's like the music is really weird, and you know, there's like these like discordant notes on like a guitar, or I've noticed the soundtrack in a good way with this series.
I'm with you.
Same here.
Sometimes a great soundtrack is just there and you don't really notice it, and it just supports the emotion of the scene. But this is like that stuff where it's on par, I think, with the stuff that's going on for Watchmen, which is also stellar.
But with a totally different flavor. I'm with you.
It's completely different, but it's I think, of equal quality.
And just to touch on what you were saying about John Williams, I think it was you that said it, Ben, but like, if you put a John Williams score here, I don't think it works. Like, it's not a Save the Universe show, you know? I think it really fits. It keeps it unique to its own sphere of the story, I suppose. Like, it keeps it frontier.
Yeah. It's one thing that perhaps people haven't thought about much, but it's something that I think needed to happen with a Star Wars project, is to have some different kind of music rather than the high symphonic, heroic sort of, anthemy sort of thing, to go with something that's different, I think is a great move. Talk about a bold move, really.
Yeah.
And I think it adds a different flavor to what you're watching, and it makes it resonate in a different way. And I think that's great. Brings a little freshness.
My only complaint about the soundtrack was really the opposite of what you said in your opener, Ben, was that, people want a John Williams soundtrack. Like, number one, no, that doesn't work. What works is the cool kind of grungy, like the guitar riff thing, very weird, different, kind of ethereal sounding at points. And what I really disliked was that he seems to feather in at points very John Williams sounding score pieces. And I really disliked the way that those were injected in there. I think they clash with the sort of what I would call the main score. That's kind of the Mandalorian's, sound, the soundtrack that goes with the Mandalorian himself, that kind of... You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
The main theme song with the
the twangy guitar kind of thing. That no, not that. I don't like that. What I like is like when he's going about his business in the course of the show, and you hear that like ethereal, different kind of music, and it's like there's like almost like a twangy guitar, and like you said, it's like sort of off key. Like all that is great. That is the soundtrack. When when he finally takes off in the second episode and he flies into space, it's like we get a taste of that, John Williams kind of dun 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 dun, and it's like, why did you have to put that in there? Like it's just stupid. It doesn't fit. And while I think that the guy who composed it definitely did a great job on it, I don't like that those bits were injected in there, and I don't know by who they were injected in there, because I think they were injected in there by somebody other than the composer. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, let's put this in here so it, reminds people of whatever. Like, come on. That's my only thing about the score. Other than that, I think the score is awesome. It's perfect for the show. Just more of it.
I'm with you. And the frustration with the possibility of, hey, sprinkle a little bit of this in here because it'll remind people of this, that, and the other. To touch on what we were talking about earlier, I feel like I'm getting fan service fatigue. Like, I don't need any more fucking service. Like, you guys have fluffed me enough. Come up with some fucking new stuff. So I'm with you. Like, the score, I'm more on Ben's motorcycle, where like I'm kind of pretty stoked with it and hadn't really picked up on the stuff that you mentioned, but I'm interested in going back and listening for it now.
Yeah, right on.
For sure, because I don't doubt at all that it's valid and probably very warranted.
Yeah.
The ship flying stuff for me, there were a couple of scenes, probably not the one that you're talking about, but where like I don't have the music kind of terminology, but like I guess the only word I could use is like a flangey kind of like percussive kind of sound that I really liked. Which may be or may not be what you're talking about, but I'll chuck it in as a bed track just to kind of give people an idea, because describing a sound is not exactly the best way to go about it.
No, it's not. So I'll say, here's an example of what I'm talking about that I love. And here's an example of what I'm talking about that I disliked.
I think one of the things I like about it, maybe my only comment on the score, since I haven't chimed in really, is I I like the retro futurism of a Western in space, and the score has retro vibes and then kind of electronic vibes. So it kind of works for me in that way. And so that flangey kind of, I don't know the words to use to describe it, but you've just heard it. So the flangey kind of sound, I really think fits really well.
Do you guys have anything else to say about the music, or do you want to move on?
I'd like to move on because I think we should get to some of the meat.
Fire it, dude. Go.
As we spoke about last week, we're going to talk about the first half. So there's 8 episodes in the season, which I'm kind of bummed out about that there's only 8 episodes, but I kind of get it because of the budget and kind of how hard it is to make this stuff.
I don't know that I like the diminishing number of episodes in a season. On the same subject, I've been watching, I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but I'm a huge fan of Silicon Valley, the HBO series, and the last season is like fucking 6 episodes or something. Like,
really? I haven't seen it yet, but fuck, that sucks.
I didn't even know it was going to be the finale season, but not only that, it's like a very short season comparison to the rest of them. So
it seems to be the way TV's moving in terms of like, this is such a glut of money to make projects that projects seem to be maybe getting a little bit shorter, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it's an HBO thing because, the final season, of course, of I'm not going to make the same mistake as Kevin did. Game of Thrones was, the final season was rather short too. So
yeah, it's odd. I mean, like, I'm okay with this being an 8-season episode, but I kind of feel like based on the pacing so far, best case scenario is, like, from a speculation point of view, is like the end of the season is going to be like the beginning of the show. Like it's like season 1 is establishing the show, whereas I don't really know what sort of an arc is going to be achieved with only 4 episodes left, considering that like episode 4, while I enjoyed it, was kind of a filler episode. Well, maybe not a filler episode, but it wasn't really driving things forward. So like if you only have 8 shots, 8 times at bat, like you kind of need to drive the story forward every time. So I'm kind of concerned about that, I guess. Like I'm sure they'll pull it off, but it's just an interesting thing how many shows are going with 8 episodes these days to a season, and it's going to be a whole year before the next installment.
Well, that answers my question, because I was going to say maybe shorter seasons means we're going to get them a little
faster.
A little faster, yeah. Like instead of a whole year, it's going to be like 6 months or 8 months or something like that. And the cycle of the seasons is going to be a little different. But
I don't think so. I don't think anybody knows. But there was some speculation based on Jon Favreau's Instagram in terms of talking about starting to shoot season 2, that it lines up with the same time they started to shoot season 1. So it's probably a yearly thing.
Yeah, I know they're already at it. They're already doing season 2. So
yeah,
but I did at least see one interview with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni where they were talking about. I think what we might see is something that's kind of varied. I think they're trying to write like the overarching story, and they're trying to break it up into sort of pieces that make sense.
Which I like. I like that the runtimes vary.
Yeah, that the runtimes vary, and that there was something about there being 8 episodes in this one where it's makes sense with the story,
Yeah,
at large. So
I believe it.
We'll see.
On top of there being 8 episodes, which I personally really don't give a shit about. I mean, whatever. There's 8 episode seasons in a lot of shows. I think 10 is where it should be.
Same.
And I think anything less than 8 is sort of cheating people, I guess, is my thinking about that. But I think it's important to keep in mind that in addition to only having 8 episodes, these episodes are only 35 to 40 minutes long. They are not 50 to 60 minutes long, like most shows.
It seems stingy, but do you think we'll end up with like a longer episode at some point, maybe towards the end?
I think probably, but...
Maybe not.
It's interesting that like 8 30-something minute episodes is essentially 7 episodes of a traditional form. You're kind of getting cheated out of an episode when you add it all up.
Okay, so I didn't want to get us stuck on that anymore. I just wanted to say that and then move on to the next thing. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point. In terms of the plot, are we on that tip now?
Sure.
I think the first thing that kind of jumped out at me was how little the lead speaks. I really, really love how quiet.
Same.
The the Mandalorian is. It really like adds so much gravity to the intro, I suppose, of the show.
Absolutely. And he has to utilize his body language to convey what he's doing in almost every scene. And that is really, really cool. I remember reading an article about where Carl Weathers was talking. I mean, Carl Weathers, wow. Carl Urban, show favorite Carl Urban was talking about doing the same thing. Same thing in Dredd, because the helmet covered pretty much the entirety of his face except for his mouth. So this covers his entire head. So he has to do a lot more work with his body to achieve conveying what he's trying to convey. And I think it's great. And I think it's great that he speaks less, too.
Yeah, even just in the opening bit, like you get the fish dude just blabbing and blabbing and blabbing, and he's just sitting there silently. I loved it. It was great.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
And it fits with the Western, like, hard ass trope, gunslinger kind of thing.
Totally, man.
Yeah. I think we might be missing something just really quick here. It is a very physical performance, and there's not a lot of lines, but somehow there's not a lot of dialogue from the character, but somehow he's creating a great subtlety that is bringing the flavor of the character to you. Like, you feel like you get this character, you feel like you get Mando, you feel like there's substance there. But there's almost nothing. There's almost nothing to present the substance. Like all of the performance is so subtle. There's very few lines.
Right.
It's a very physical performance, but it's not like a super actiony thing either. It's all subtle.
Do you feel like it's like reading a book where you kind of put your own spin on it because there isn't information there, or maybe like you potentially like put yourself into the role and identify via the fact that there's nothing there, as well as the fact that Pedro Pascal is being super subtle and fleshing it out? You
tell me. I just know that it works, that's all I can say.
I kind of feel like, for me, maybe, yeah. I kind of feel like the sparseness of the character is resonating with how much I wanted to be in the Star Wars universe as a kid. And so it's so sparse that I can almost put myself there and be like, I am, Boba Fett, and I am in this show. And, you can kind of imagine yourself there.
That's interesting.
So I think there is an element of it like that for me. Maybe it's a nostalgic element. But I do think you make a great point, Ben, about just how much the subtleties bring to the character. So it's probably a bit of both, but I don't know. I'm curious if you guys, resonate with the comment about putting yourself in the shoes, or the fact that it's so vague that you kind of populate it with your own imagination.
I do resonate with that. I'm just going to...
I do too.
Throw this in really quick. The Mando, even the fact that like he doesn't have a name, people just refer to him as Mando, I guess, because maybe that's what they call, that's like a slang for Mandalorian or whatever. But he doesn't have a name. His performance is very sparse, and it almost reminds me of, many characters. If you're playing a video game, where the character that you're playing in the video game is kind of like a vague, not something like The Witcher, where you have a very fleshed out character, but something maybe more like Far Cry 5, where your character doesn't actually ever talk, but people respond to you as if they know you. I mean, sometimes they make your character in a video game very open, the result of which is that you're able to view the world through that character. People interact with that character as if they know who they are, and they'll refer to you as Rookie or, whatever, but you don't actually have a name. And it allows you to sort of inhabit that world. So that ties in with what you were saying, Chad, where, since you were a kid, you wanted to inhabit that world. And I think the Mandalorian as a character and Pedro Pascal's performance sort of allows that. He definitely is your lens into this world, and the subtlety of the character allows you to sort of inhabit it. I think that's a very interesting take, and I think that's probably true, and perhaps that's what they were going for.
Did you have something you want to chime in on that topic, Kev? Either with the idea that when you're reading a book, you tend to populate it with your imagination because details are left unsaid, or resonate with you because you can put yourself in the character's shoes?
No, wow, that's a really good question. I I don't put myself in the character's shoes. This is my total off-the-cuff response. If I think about it, it might be different. But I also don't populate it terribly with thoughts of like, oh, what's going on behind the helmet? Like, what does the inside of the helmet look like? You know, like I don't do that either, you know, or like, what is he like when he goes home? What does his bathroom look like? Like, I don't do any of that. And I like when it's left alone. I mean, certainly when I read a book, I absolutely populate it with my own visuals. But with this, I don't. It is visual. So I don't need to do that. And the things that I don't know about, I kind of like them being unknown. I think that adds to... Unknowns are good things, and they make your imagination start working, and they can make you excited with wonder, and they can keep that feeling going for a long time. And part of what I don't like in today's modern world of film and TV is it's just they're always revealing what this is and what that is, and like this is what's behind the curtain. It's like you, as soon as you start pulling the curtain back, you start really ruining things. And so what I'm really talking about is a level of theatricality that I think is gone, that people don't utilize. And I'm sort of getting on a bit of a tangent here. But anyway, that's what I think about that. I like it like that. I like that it's mysterious. It's great like that, you know? And it's like if they reveal it later down the line, awesome. If they don't, I'll probably wonder why they didn't. But at the same time, it's like...
If they don't, even more awesome, probably.
Well, exactly. But that's the point of what I'm talking about with theatricality. It's like, I don't need to know what he looks like. I don't need to know if he's got tattoos all over his face or whatever. It's like, I don't really care. I'm very fine with the mystery being there. Like, people have like all this anxiety of needing to know everything. And it's like, you don't. What you need to do is you need to learn how to deal with your anxiety of not knowing and being okay with that and really enjoying it, because it can be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and I think it's to be careful what you wish for, in the sense of like in the Star Wars world, there's a perfect example that comes to mind for me, which is the Clone Wars, where when it's referenced in the original trilogy, you're like, fuck, I wonder what that is. And then it's like, well, now we fucking know because they made 20 shows about it and the movies were about it. It's like, I kind of rather I didn't know and was left up to the imagination. So that's not to say anything against the shows and stuff, but like I think it's a good example of it.
Exactly. No, you just proved my point. And this show very much has a it's The Man with No Name. This is Clint Eastwood. It's the trilogy, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for a few dollars more, a fistful of dollars. It's the same thing in terms of that character with no name. I'm not saying that the films are similar to this show or vice versa, but I think that that's a great thing. Who is this guy? You know, it's like Kevin Costner's character in Waterworld. It was the Mariner. You didn't know his name, and it was like, it was cool that you didn't know his name. You know, it's like you don't need to know it. You don't need to know Clint Eastwood's name. It's like, if you're constantly like, who is this mysterious stranger? Then you're wanting for more.
Yeah.
I think that the production values on this show are really good, and that this is going to sort of tie into a bunch of comments that have been made throughout the episode, is that I think that may be why we're getting shorter episodes and only 8 of them, because the values in the production are very high. And when you go into the bar and he meets Somber Cargo Pants, it's a lot of aliens in the bar, and that is a lot of practical makeup effects, and that stuff is expensive, and it takes time, and like the costumes are very detailed, and the aliens' faces are very well done, and you can tell it's practical effects. So that could be the reason why I think the values, again, are very high in this production. Like his armor, and it's not just exclusive to Mando, like his armor is great, his gadgets are amazing, but everybody's looks really good. All the Mandalorians, when they pile in after he gets the huge load of Beskar in episode 3, they all look great, and they all have their own very subtly unique look to them. All of the bounty hunters in Somber Cargo Pants' bar have a different look to them, and they're all very different, and there's a ton of them. You know, just that sort of dirty, broken down look of the future that, you know, George Lucas created originally back with the original Star Wars is absolutely there, and it's fantastic. You know, the Jawas, the Mudhorn, everything. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, the outdoor markets and the streets and alleyways. Yeah.
Exactly. So well done. You know, the scene where all the Mandalorians come in in episode 3 at the end to save him and help him escape is just awesome, you know? So a lot of great production values there. I just wanted to inject that in there as we're moving towards the end here. And then the next thing I wanted to say is that, and I'll sort of go off of that, segue off of that, is you know, these first 3 episodes, they're really good. The beginning just absolutely grabs me, reels me right in. And then he gets a hold of the kid, and then he has to go on this adventure and get a bargaining chip to get his ship parts back to repair his ship. And then we see him, you know, sort of make a decision against the guild, and he grabs the kid and all that stuff. And there's some amazing, like, the fight scenes are great. You can see everything. The physical combat, hand-to-hand combat is fantastic. The blaster combat is fantastic. And then we get to episode 4, which is like the Monster of the Week episode, as they used to call them in the X-Files.
Meets the Three Amigos.
It's the Monster of the Week. It's like, well, we set down on this planet to get some fuel. What are we going to do, Wilma? You know? And she's like, I don't know, Buck. And then all of a sudden there's a farmer there. And she's like, you know, can you help us? I mean, this is like straight out of a Chips episode. It's like the uncle who owns the shipping company, his niece, straight out of the A-Team, goes to the A-Team. And it's like, oh, my uncle's shipping company, they keep getting hijacked. Can you help us? I mean, like, that's what this episode is. And I absolutely hated it. That maybe that's a little bit too strong of a reaction. I just didn't like it. It doesn't fit. Chad, you already mentioned it, and I don't know why they put that in there. I get that he needs to hide out with the child, but you know, at the end they're like doing the kind of the usual tropey thing, like, well, no, I can't stay. I gotta move on. This place ain't for me. This is for you. You're a farmer. I'm not a farmer. I'm gonna move on. I gotta move on. I gotta keep moving. This ain't my thing, you know? So, I just didn't like that episode. It doesn't fit at all. And it was just so like hyper tropey with like, you know, old A-Team, old Chips. Like, I was just like, this is dumb. Like, I mean, it was good, but it was just like dumb. Go, yes.
Can I jump in really quick? I disliked the ending, the wrap up, the way they got out of there. Like you were talking about the whole, like, you know, oh, we can't stay here. That whole thing drove me nuts. But I did kind of like the random A-Team episode nature of that. I actually really liked that about it. I didn't hate it. Oh, maybe this show can go that way. Maybe this show can pull in some of those like just simple, digestible one episode stories that we would get in shows like the A-Team or fucking, you know, any of the shit we all used to watch when we were kids.
Got your wish, bro.
I kind of like that idea. Occasionally, you know, I mean.
Okay, I'm with that, man.
I did like the interaction between the Mandalorian and the mercenary, the ex-rebel mercenary. I kind of liked the kind of buddy up for one episode thing, and again that they didn't do the now she's part of the crew thing, you know. So it's the only kind of recurring theme throughout the show is Baby Yoda, and then some person teams up, and then he doesn't stick around with them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed by the forced romance sort of thing that was going on. I didn't think that was necessary. I thought it was enough that like the kids of the village really seemed to resound with Baby Yoda. I thought that would have been like enough of like a, you know, a thing. I didn't like the weird sort of, you know, smashing together of the townswoman and the Mandalorian and her sort of, you know, trying to demask him and all of the like drama that went along with that. Like, I just didn't think any of that was necessary. And I didn't think it fit.
Same.
At the same time, though, like, it doesn't necessarily fit, and I generally agree with both of you. However, you could say that it was a way to communicate and flesh out the Mandalorian's character in the sense of him being, you know, a child who was taken in by the Mandalorians, grew up. Obviously, that's the reason why he's chosen to go against the guild and take Baby Yoda under his wing. And so like you could see his character getting maybe not nostalgic, but like wishing that he had, just like I wish I was in the Star Wars universe when I was a kid. I think it kind of communicated that he wishes that he had a normal life, but he didn't. So he's stuck with this fucking armor and is 100% committed to the religion or whatever culture of the Mandalorians. But the interaction of him and the farmer widow, I think, was attempting to kind of push that idea, which I'm sure isn't lost on you guys, but I tend to agree that it maybe wasn't executed fantastically.
Yeah, I know what they were going for, but there was a little, it felt pressured, you know what I mean? It was like just because the character Cara Dune sort of suggested it, that, you know, that's what it ended up being, and it just didn't, I don't know. It felt forced to me.
I was just going to say that, Ben.
And maybe pressured is a good word because they only had 8 episodes to tell the story, so maybe they were pressured.
Yeah, that's all fair.
Yeah, it's more devil's advocate than anything else.
It is all fair, but I'm not seeing how this pushes forward the story arc of the first season, and I was expecting something more.
Yeah.
It really, honestly, it felt like a Star Trek episode.
That's fair.
Take your pick. DS9, Next Gen, Original. It felt like a Star Trek episode. It was like, okay, we've landed on this planet, and like, oh, there's these people, and they farm these little weird blue shrimp, and like, you know, some bullshit going on with the stream, and the dam ain't working, and you know, Cisco's got to be like, all right, why don't you go up to the ship and get a bunch of shovels and shit, you know, like whatever, dude. I mean, it's just, that's exactly what it felt like to me, you know?
Yeah, it's fair.
So, yeah, that's
episode 4 in a nutshell for sure. I kind of feel like episode 1 is essentially the setup, which we've really kind of gone over. The two shining moments there are the bounty droid, which you touched on, Ben, and then Baby Yoda, I think, obviously being introed there, which he's in every episode after that. I like the second episode a lot. I like the Jawa chase a la Indiana Jones, like getting dragged on the cliffs and stuff. Like that was kind of funny.
Oh shoot, I didn't even think about that. It is totally indie, man.
100%.
Wow.
And then there was also a Super Nintendo game that had like a whole level was exactly that, just jumping, like side-scrolling 2D platform game where you're just jumping all over a Jawa thing. So I had some serious nostalgia there.
You mean the Tesla bus?
Yes, exactly. The Tesla bus.
Nice.
So that was a fun episode. But out of the 4, I think the third one is the strongest.
No doubt. It's first and third are the strongest
Yeah.
for me. The Sin is the best one. When he goes to get that kid in the Sin, he just really dials some shit in, and it's awesome.
And the setup for that too, man. Like I loved the setup where just like pulling the Beskar out of the vest pocket sets up the getting shot thing. Baby Yoda grabbing the little ball off the gear shifter totally sets it up, where he goes on, he's like, fuck it, I'm out of here, I'm just gonna keep being a bounty hunter, and then he sees the fucking gear shifter without the ball, and he's like, god damn it, you know, and turns the switches off and goes and just fucks shit up.
Right. He's like, god damn it, I have a heart after all. I can't leave that kid.
But I also feel like the setup for that is good too, where like anytime he gets shit forged at the blacksmith, like he tends to have flashbacks of like his youth and stuff. So I don't feel like it was handled cheaply. I think the kind of like affection for Baby Yoda because he was, you know, in the similar position as a child. Like I think they set that up pretty well.
They did, and I want to say that at first I was like, oh, this is weird. He's like, you know, he's going back for this kid, and this is against the bounty hunter's life and code and blah, 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 and the guild code and all of that stuff. And then as I thought about it more, it really makes perfect sense why he goes back for the kid. He has a very strong connection to children and children being abandoned. I mean, every single person in the Mandalorian, or who is a Mandalorian, who's in that religion, whatever, they are, my understanding is that they are all foundlings. Certainly, if we go by the lore of this particular series. I know that the Mandalorians were featured heavily in the animated show Clone Wars, which I still haven't watched, but all of the children are foundlings. So, of course, he's going to have a deep connection to, abandoned, helpless, unprotected children, and rightly so. So it really fits quite well. In fact, when I saw the title of the episode, as I was watching it the first time, I was like, oh, he's going to, do this and get kicked out of the band and, all that sort of thing. But it's like, it really makes perfect sense why he did what he did.
Yeah. And you touched on it a minute ago where, like, the end sequence where all the other Mandalorians join in, I think I wasn't necessarily confused the first time. I guess I just wasn't really paying close attention. But on the second watch, it makes perfect sense that they, as also being foundlings, would get behind the back of their, brother, for lack of a better term, and just be like, yeah, fuck the powers that be. We're a tribe, and if one of our members of our tribe is choosing to do something that's going to mean we're all going to have to uproot, then so fucking be it.
This is the way.
This is the way.
No, I don't think not all Mandalorians are foundlings, but I feel like this was a foundling enclave of Mandalorians. Like just a group that managed to, like a little tribe, sub-tribe that managed to stay together after the fall of the Empire, and they're just kind of hiding out doing their thing. And it's clear that their way, the Mandalorian way, their way is more, it takes precedence over like being honorable in the guild.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's clear that they don't, there's like friction in that episode where Mando is confronted by one of his brethren about taking shit from, ex-Empire people or whatever. So there's like clearly like friction there, but when the cause is right, i.e. Saving Baby Yoda, they're all there 100% because they all feel that. They're all on board with, protecting children that don't have a family.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it's really critical to like dive into this, but the way I took it was slightly different in that I kind of didn't really associate the other Mandalorians' reaction as relating to Baby Yoda. I saw their reaction as relating to a friend in need kind of thing. But it's the same essential thing. So
absolutely,
I totally see where you're coming from. If you guys don't mind, I'd love to throw a little quibble into this episode that actually turned out to be okay.
Sure.
When he goes and blasts his way into snag Baby Yoda, and then everyone's beacon turns on, I immediately got a flashback to fucking John Wick.
Oh my god,
where,
yes. Wow.
All of a sudden, everyone's gonna fucking kill John Wick, and John Wick has armor now, and I was just kind of like, oh, I'm not really into the idea of the single dude saving the world by shooting everyone in the face with gun fu. And then when the Mandalorian teammates all join in, I was like, oh, thank God it's not one guy against everybody. So, like, I feel like it touched in the John Wick kind of thing, and then it pulled itself back out. And I was quite thankful that it didn't just turn into John Wick Part 4,
Yeah, it was, yeah. I didn't think about that, but I totally could see that. And I'm glad it didn't go that way either. I'm glad all the Mandalorians showed up and helped him escape.
I'd love to rewind to maybe the sequence where he busts into snag Baby Yoda, but I have to say, like, shout out to Jon Favreau throwing a little Iron Man bit at the end where the dude in the jetpack flies alongside and salutes. It was just like totally reminded me of just like a little throwback to the Iron Man love.
I have to get one of those.
Exactly. I was just going to do that.
It was great.
And the just for reference, it's not Baby Yoda is a Yodan. That's the name of their race. Ben and I decided this when we were talking before we got on the phone with you.
Do they have a name for the race? Because my very loose understanding is there isn't one.
No, they do now.
Because you named them.
They do now that Ben and I decided that it was Yodan. I said Yodian. He said Yodan. Okay. We agreed that Yodan was better.
I like Yodan.
Yoden.
And by we, I mean I.
I love how you guys named the race, and yet, a la how many E's are in Jar Higo, you both disagree about how to pronounce the name of the race you just named.
It's 2 E's in Higo.
Original continuity Jar Higo versus current continuity Jar Higo.
Exactly. It's chocolate in the peanut butter, Which came first? I don't know.
I mean, it is now because it's my fucking Twitter handle, but,
Yeah, man.
Gotcha. I got you good, fucker. Oh, wait, that's the perfect segue.
I'm not going to argue about potato here.
The perfect segue right there. I got you, good fucker. I found out such a great little nugget today, which is the Mandalorian armor was designed by Ralph McQuarrie for Empire Strikes Back for what was meant to be a super soldier, and the name that they had for the super soldiers was Super Troopers. They were supposed to be called Super Troopers, which I thought was fucking hilarious when I read it.
I'm glad they didn't go with that.
Yeah, on the topic of the pairing of Baby Yoda and Mando, are you guys? You must be, but are you guys familiar with Lone Wolf and Cub? Yeah,
vaguely.
It totally reminds me of Lone Wolf and Cub, and I really want to someday do an episode on the manga of Lone Wolf and Cub. It is possibly one of the greatest pieces of fiction in the history of fiction, alongside Lord of the Rings and stuff. It is fucking fantastic.
Manga. I was going to mention that earlier when we were talking about the fact that it didn't turn out to be a buddy thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. It just turns out to be a different kind of buddy thing.
Yeah, but like Lone Wolf is kind of similar in the sense that Ogami Ito, the main character, teams up for episodes at a time, but it doesn't stick.
It's a different paradigm. It's not Firefly, it's Lone Wolf and Cub. But I just kind of decided to leave that up.
It totally kind of has the Lone Wolf vibe. Are you familiar with that one, Kev, or not really?
Vaguely. I know about Lone Wolf and Cub. I know what it is. I may have read some of that, but I'm really not sure.
And you'd recognize all of it from every single Wu-Tang Clan album ever.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, shout out to Lone Wolf and Cub, and I want to do a show on it someday. I would love to maybe shift gears to tidbits and try and get to the end of this beast.
Okay, what are tidbits? What do you mean?
Have you guys seen the Baby Yoda stereo meme?
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen that. What is that?
Where, like, there's the episode where he, like, keeps touching the buttons in the ship, and he's like, stop touching the fucking buttons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's been, like, a bunch of people that have made little videos of, like, him changing radio stations and fucking... There's, like, Justice's Facebook, like, they're announcing a rock opera, and they did it. I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's just really fucking funny meme. And I love all the Baby Yoda memes. I think it's great that people are snagging it and doing shit with it.
I have not seen any Baby Yoda memes. I really need to.
You're not a meme lord?
No, I need to access the internet every once in a while because I haven't seen any of that. I'm not a meme lord. Is that what you said? Meme lord?
Yeah, man.
A meme lord. Wait, did you say a meme lord or milord?
Both. Milord. I had two other little nuggets that I thought were interesting.
Too late, Chad. I'm already off and running. Load. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
Nugget number one, I read that the CGI that is used in the series uses Unreal Engine to keep it faster and cheaper to produce.
Interesting.
And as a result of it being used as the production space or whatever environment, they did all the storyboards in Unreal Engine. So I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit.
That is interesting. Do they not usually, what do they usually use?
I don't know, but maybe that it's like a 3D environment with physics and stuff, as opposed to like an animated environment that you have to come up with your own physics and shit. I don't fucking know. I don't know enough about it, but I just thought it was interesting, especially the storyboard stuff, because like you see all these behind the scenes things, and it's literally storyboards on the wall. Even though it's digitally painted by an artist, it's just 2D on a wall, like Post-it note style. So, and it kind of immediately reminded me of the closing credits of all the shows and how they're kind of cool storyboard-esque style things. And so I just thought it was an interesting nugget.
I was going to ask you if that connected to that, because that's definitely something that I enjoyed, are the little storyboard clips during the credits.
And the credits sequences aren't just 2D kind of digital paintings. Like there's like some of the elements move similar to kind of like an Akira, where like the foreground pieces move at a certain speed. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's just like, hey, go do something fun with the engine that we have already and all the storyboards already, and just like add some texture and we'll make it the credits, so it's just kind of an interesting little tidbit.
That is an interesting tidbit, Chad, and I will echo what Ben said. I have never enjoyed watching credits as much as I have in this series. When the credits come on, I'm always like, ooh, and then I sit there and I watch them because the storyboard shots are just great. They're great.
Yeah, totally. It's really great. Last tidbit is Industrial Light and Magic created an entirely new division called ILM TV that's only focused on the TV shows, which I thought was interesting, that they're that dedicated to the ideas of the television stuff. Yeah, I thought that was super fascinating.
That is fascinating.
I mean, it's clearly showing that they're going to make a lot of fucking TV. I mean, they've got the confirmed Obi-Wan, Cooking with Obi-Wan, so...
Cooking with Obi-Wan.
I can't wait for Cooking with Obi-Wan.
I can't wait for Cooking with Obi-Wan.
Can't wait.
I think I mentioned this before, but Ewan McGregor's brother is a pilot in the RAF, and his call sign is Obi-2.
No way, that's amazing.
No, it's true. I think I mentioned that in the Star Wars episode, but that was like a year ago. So
No, that's the first I've ever heard that.
Okay, yeah. So his brother, I saw it on a little, I don't know what it was, on Instagram or something. One of those stupid internet social media things. Anyway, yeah, it just said that his brother is an RAF pilot and his call sign is Obi-2. I was like, that is perfect.
That's fucking genius.
I don't know about anybody else, but when I was a little kid, I thought Obi-Wan was Obi-Wan.
Same here. Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Makes perfect sense.
You don't think he means old Ben Kenobi, do you?
I love
old wizard.
That old wizard? Nah. Hey, Luke, shut up and have yourself some more nondescript white porridge.
It's not porridge, buddy.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Ben?
Can I redo that scene?
Yep.
Take two.
Luke, shut up and have yourself some more of General... Wait. Jesus Christ, I screwed it up. Give me a take 3, Ben, please.
Take 3.
Luke, shut up and have yourself some more delicious Admiral Akbar's New England-style clam chowder. Jesus Christ. New England style.
You have to leave all that in now.
New England style clam chowder, creamy and delicious, made just the Mon Calamari way. Then you can go to Mos Eisley.
Oh, can I keep all of those takes in? That's too good.
Yes, dude. Good tidbits, Chad. I like that. Let's rate it and
so maybe just wrapping this thing up, like,
please, let's do that.
I know we're not doing anything official here, but I think overall so far I'm giving this one a solid B, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And I wish there were fucking more than 8 episodes, but I'm pretty stoked. I'm whelmed, Benny. I'm whelmed.
For halfway through the series, I'm going to give it a B+, and I can't wait to watch the rest.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I'm going with the B+ myself.
Here's to them making it an A.
Here's to that, and I feel like they're moving in a nice direction, and I hope they keep the momentum. And by that, I mean, with Star Wars and Marvel, and really all of their stuff.
Yeah.
Don't afraid to be bold.
I think we touched on wanting other forms of media to be explored with these universes, and I feel like this is a great start. Even if it's not super risky, even if it's basically a Western with pew-pew lasers, like, I still feel like it's a great beginning to a new medium.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's hope they stick the landing, unlike ourselves in this episode.
Aww.
Hey.
Aww. Speaking of not sticking many landings tonight, the only person that died tonight was Kev.
I did not record a death.
Same. I'm sure I had one.
Then again, I didn't take any serious risks. So.
You didn't. I did.
I didn't.
Yeah. So you died 3 times, because maybe you died for the 3 of us tonight.
Oh.
I think that's how we're gonna have to do it. Can you who is the official?
Henceforth there shall be a new nickname for Kev, the Savior.
Ooh. That's very touching, Ben. Thank you. Ben, did you record all of my deaths? Somebody did. Who is the death recorder for this episode? Can you rattle them off for me? I know the first one was the horrible GOT reference, which is absolutely... That's like...
Yep, the second one was when you said insanely 47 times.
Oh, I thought that was fun.
Yes.
And then the third one is your Karl Weathers impressions. And I don't know. I didn't think that was a death, but you insisted, so.
I really didn't think it was either. I thought it was pretty damn good, but, hey, whatever.
Whatevs, man.
My deaths are at your discretions, as yours are at mine.
And there's death number 4.
So we're going to leave it at that. I took the deaths for the other 2 team members this week, folks, so don't think they didn't die. I took those deaths for them. It's kind of like a mulligan. Anyway, algorithm, favor us with a preview of what the folks at home might be listening to in the next episode.
So we're jingling all the way next week with our
Jamie
non-traditional Christmas movies. So the focus is going to be on Jingle All the Way and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I'm sure we'll get a little bit of Die Hard and Bruce Willis in there. And you know what happens whenever we mention Kurt Willis.
Seagrams, golden wine coolers, Seagrams, golden wine coolers.
It's wet and it's dry. We'll see you next week, everybody.
It was the perfect ending, Chad. It was literally the perfect ending. I'm gonna echo what Chad said, folks, and say thanks for tuning in. It's wet and it's dry. See you next week.
See you guys.
See you, everyone. Grief Karga told me you were coming.
Oh, and that's going to wrap this week's episode. Next week, we're going to be talking about Christmas movies. You can find the show notes for today's episode in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/33. You can shoot us questions using the Twitter hashtag AskEBD. You can You can find me at Moverine on Twitter. That's MOHLVERINE. Chad is at Chad Normal on Twitter. Ben is at Jarhego on Twitter. That's JARHEEGO. I'd like to take a minute and thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you'd like to support the show, there are two great ways to do it. First, rating and reviewing on iTunes or wherever you get podcast muffins. Or you can tell someone to check out the show. Word of mouth is really powerful. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Brilliant.
Terrific.